Good morning, this is Dave Wellendorf from MakeRes, and today we'd like to talk a little bit about the guest page. The guest page is one of the central elements of MakeRes and is probably where you're going to spend the vast majority of your time. It's separated into 7 different areas. It's either contact information, phone information. These are tabs that get you to those particular areas. Booking information, workflow, transactions, reminders, and communications. We'll go into each of these areas individually. So let's presume that I've got a guest on the line and I'm entering in their information. There's fields that are in red, like the guest name and the email. Those are absolutely required to be able to save a guest into the database. So let's type in Joe Stannis as our potential guest. And the email, let's pretend is jstanis@gmail.com. Have to repeat that because email is a very critical area for us. It's our prime communication vehicle. And so now I've repeated that. At this point in time, I can actually go ahead and I could save the guest information if this is all the information I had. I'm not going to do that because, again, this is kind of a synthetic example and I really don't want it in the database. But you can add in a variety of other fields. You can see there's fields that are highlighted in blue and then fields that are highlighted in black. The red, again, is required to save anything into the database. The blue fields are required before we can actually make a booking. So all that information has to be collected to do a booking, get the customer on the calendar. And the black information is either supplied by the system, like the initial contact up here, or things that you can add that are really not required but could be useful, like the notes information. Bottom of the page, that's simply a grab bag of pieces of information that don't fit anyplace else. For example, it might be a place to put the kids' names for the group that's coming, or the fact that they want a massage, or the fact that you connected them with a rafting company. So really anything you can imagine could go into there. So that's demographic information, street, city, zip code. The next tab we might want to go into is the phone information. There, the one in blue is the cell phone, and again, really important for us to have the correct cell phone because that's how we're going to try and communicate with the guest during their stay, also as they're coming to the property. So important to have the cell phone, and one of the things we offer under the communications tab is the ability to send a test message out to the cell phone to verify that it is indeed a cell phone, indeed it is in service. And then you can ask the customer, did you get my test, even before they came, and have verified that the cell phone number you have is in good working order. So we've got the cell phone. We can enter in the number for day number and the evening number, which are in this case optional for the customer. We've also got booking information, which completes the trio of pieces of information we have to collect to do a booking. Here we have like the number of adults, let's say 2, number of kids, let's say 1. Potential arrival date, we'll click on the calendar icon, and maybe they're going to arrive on the 17th of December, so click that. Nights they'd like to stay, let's say 3 nights. Which property they're going to go into, and there's choice of really the Riverdance property or a vacation rental called Cottage in the Woods. So we'll put them at the Riverdance bed and breakfast. Have to decide then what room we're going to put them in. Of course, we've referred to the calendar to understand what our openings are at this point in time. So we're going to put River Rocks in there. Let's go ahead and flesh out the charges, $115, $40 for the cleaning charge, one of the things we assess here at Riverdance. And then some interesting information about where the customer came from and what they might be doing. So perhaps this referral came in from TripAdvisor, coming out for an anniversary. As it turns out, they're not taking advantage of any special, so we can collect that information also. So those are the pieces, the contact information, the phone information, the booking information that we'll collect and we'll store down in the database to make the reservation for the customer. So let's go take a look at an existing reservation so we can see the other 4 areas and how that might interrelate to the customer. So I'm going to type in 282. That's a guest number, confirmation number. We use it kind of interchangeably. Send it out to the guest. And I'm going to go ahead and get that guest. And it turns out it's my favorite customer, Kyle Wellendorf, my son. Uses a test case quite often. So Kyle has all his contact phone and booking information already populated. So let's go to the workflow tab. If I go to the workflow tab, I can see that there's a check mark here in the make booking area and a second check mark in the send contract area. That indicates that I've already sent a booking confirmation email out to Kyle that lists the details of his booking so he can indeed confirm those and make sure that the arrival date, the number of days, anything to do with his booking makes sense and matches what he's anticipating. We've also sent a contract out so Kyle can see the T's and C's of staying at Riverdance, contact information, check-in information, things like that also. The workflow area is a place to do a variety of other tasks too. So for example, if somebody had wanted to make a reservation, we found out there's simply no room at the inn. One of the things we could do is click on this little box here in the no room area, and that will put them on the no room list. Similarly, if a customer wants to come out on January 23rd for 3 days, and we simply don't have any openings there either, but they say, gee, would you put me on the wait list? By clicking on the wait list check mark, then we'll put them on the wait list, and later on if we have a cancellation we can come back and see if indeed we have somebody sitting on the wait list that might want to take that opening. Second way to use a wait list is these are great candidates to maybe make a special marketing appeal to. They've already indicated an interest in your property by contacting you in the first place. They're interested enough to be put on the wait list. Even if we can't help them at the time they originally wanted to come, they're a great set of people to send something like with Constant Contact or MailChimp out saying, hey, this is going on over this next month. Here's a special offer. Come back to Riverdance. I think you're going to enjoy it. So a variety of ways for us to keep track of customers and their states, whether we've sent them out a welcome message, whether we've sent them out a thank you message, things like that. So that's the workflow area. Another thing we need to keep track of is transactions. Transactions are really the financial underpinnings of what's going on with the reservation. We can see here at the top, highlight that. That's kind of a summary of the transaction for the entire stay. And then as we make charges against a charge card and a customer incurs new charges, we can then log them in. So in this case, I know that for guest 282, again my son, a synthetic transaction, we've already collected a $100 deposit. Good place to centrally keep all that information. Say, how much money did I collect from Kyle? You can go directly to the transactions there and say, okay, I've got $100, staying for 2 days, total bill is going to be $245.53. I need to collect another $145.53. And so whether it's selling them a pot pie or giving them a massage or the rent or they're paying with cash or a credit card, we can keep track of all those transactions so you have a central place to view and see what's going on with the financial side of the stay. Second to last area we have is reminders. I'll click on that tab. And reminders are things that may be tied directly to a customer. So In this case, I've got a reminder for the synthetic reservation for my son that I need to collect a second payment of $200 on a particular date. And so reminders are places where the system will actually kind of tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, you need to do this, or you should have done this already. So it'll tell you, hey, these are the upcoming reminders that you're going to have expiring within the next week. And these are the old reminders that really haven't been completed yet that you should attend to. So reminders can be, in this case, tied to a particular guest, or they might be simply tied to the property itself. So you may say, on February 15th, 2015, I need to have all the windows cleaned. Or on March 31st, I need to verify with my accountant that all my taxes are in order and we're going to be able to get our final return in by the April 15th deadline. So those two examples are reminders that just are tied to the property. So you can have either type of reminders and you can check them and mark them as being completed also. The last area we have is the communications area. And in communications we talk about a couple of different things. One is the documents that go along with a reservation. If I use the Get Documents button, I'll come up and I see there's 3 documents stored that have to do with this reservation. I've got book.txt, and if I click on that, I'm going to see this is the booking confirmation email sent out to a particular guest, particular address, indicating where they're going to be staying, how many days they're going to be there, how many guests are coming in. So again, they can verify this is indeed what they wanted, and we can kind of nip problems in the bud ahead of time. So that's the booking confirmation email. And I'll move this a little bit, and we can take a look at the contract email. And with the contract email, it comes up, and we're going to open that in the WordPad application on the PC. And this is a copy of the contract that was sent out to the guest. So we've got full ability to save this and a number of the other sensitive communications that we send out to customers, and then very quickly go back and refer to them rather than hunting around in our email or stacks of paper or whatever to cause problems not to happen. So if a customer thinks that you quoted them $125 for a room and the contract that we can show them we emailed to them says $135, you've got some points to talk about. So that's the documents area. Another area that we have is the ability to send short messages. And with short messages, if I get a list of them, these are some of the short messages we can send. And one of the things we found at Riverdance is that customers respond more quickly to text messages than they do to emails. Email is a great place to document things and to permanently have a record like contract and the booking confirmation. But as customers are coming to Riverdance, we feel text messaging is a superior way to communicate with them. So we've got a set of kind of canned text messages that we can send out with the MakeRes system. So if I click on the arrival text message, here we have the arrival message, basically telling GPS coordinates, and in a shortened format, because again text messages are supposed to be short, directions on how to get to Riverdance. We'd use the same type of structure if we wanted to send out that test message, so we could verify that the cell phone number that the customer gave us is in working order, is a cell phone, and that we can use it to communicate with the customer as time goes on. Now, as in many things with MakeRes system, you can extend things. So if I take a list to look again at the list of short messages, I could create another one, perhaps call it test, and use that for the test message. Perhaps I've got some other reason I need to create kind of a canned test message, and I can do that. So it's extensible, and you can customize it to the way you want to use it. So that's it for the guest page, and please take a look at all the other pages that we have the video training for. Thanks again.